At 12:30 in the afternoon. We have a sign-up sheet for the people that are present. Can be viewed if required. You all got approvals for the minutes of June the 19th. If you all reviewed, are there any changes? If not, we can have a motion to accept.
I move that we accept the minutes of presented.
I second.
Second by Oscar. Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Everybody against? And it's approved.
You want to do roll call just for the
Yes,
sakes
please.
of the meeting? Jose Zuniga,
Present.
Oscar Lopez,
Present.
and Ms. Eva Montoya.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Citizen comments will be open until the end of the meeting, so we'll leave that open. Treasurer's report update for the Department of Finance on the Falcon Bank account, deposits and expenses, and available balances. Ms. Tina?
Yes. Mr. Chairman, we have presented to you the last statement we have available is from July 2019 of Falcon Bank. We had some small deposits, two, I believe, from the interest from some bonds that are still outstanding, which puts your total balance, ending balance budget at 105,780 with 81 cents. That is your closing budget, and that is all the financial report for this month.
I move that we accept the treasurer's report dated July 2019.
We have a
As
motion on the floor, a second. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Everybody against, or any other changes or comments? Motion carries to accept as presented. Finance operation and 2019 budget update by Capstone Real Estate Services, Inc. with discussion and possible action on Hamilton apartment repairs, improvements,
Yes, you-
leases, operations, and management. Yes.
Okay, Sarah Perez for Hamilton. You have a copy of the budget. I don't think it's a very good format. I bought a legal size copy of it. I think, Mr. Zuniga, you requested a copy of this for this meeting. And if you look at the annual, I think, if you want to look at this one, it's easier. It's easier to follow because you can match it with the variance report. And it will tell you exactly what we were budgeted for and how we ended up at the end of the month. So if you look at the last page, it will give you the every month. So on the variance report, according to budget, total income, we were negative there. The reason, we are still trending at 92%, and vacancy we're struggling right now, and I'm going to tell you, and I think this is my opinion on it. The people who came in when Hamilton was remodeled for apartments was back in 1999, 2000. Some of them, a lot of the residents that lived there have been there that long. They were 60, 65 at the time, 70. So, 20 years later, they're up in age. Just this month alone, I'm going to lose 5 residents. I have 2 coming in, so that still leaves me 3 negative residents for this month alone. I have some others that are probably going to be leaving here soon, either to the nursing home, or they're really sick in the hospital. So that's that's been the trend for this year. Starting this year, I've felt the hit where the turnover has been drastic, and I think that's my theory that the people have they're 90. I have one that's 99 years old. So they're leaving us. The waiting list. I'm having issues with the waiting list, especially presently because, no, the elevator, or no, I don't want to go up on the 12th floor. I have 40 vacant units on the 12th floor. Nobody wants those units because they're on the 12th floor, so it's a little difficult right now. Hopefully, once we get the list moving,
How many vacancies do you have with?
for you guys,
with the city's
I
program?
think we're up to about 5. Mhm. 5, if not 6. I need to check I need to check who's on your program for the ones that are leaving.
Okay.
So the vacancy loss here has been great. Total repair and maintenance this month, July, we had a little bit more expenses. We had to order more supplies, and then we had our fire extinguisher inspection that was done in June but was billed in July, so the invoice hit us in July. Monthly services, we were negative there due to pest control. Pest control has also been an issue. We've been spending a lot more money on pest control, and I think it's due to the construction of the other apartments, the activity going on there. It's causing an infestation problem for us. So we've had a lot more cleanouts, and pest control has to come more frequently to do the trash rooms and the basement and stuff, because we don't want it to get out of control. So that's been an expense. Utilities, we've been saving money since we switched over to the new light provider. We've been doing really great. It's been positive all these months. And promotion, we started the raffle again, the gift card raffle again, to see if we could boost occupancy there. And we were negative $94, so we're not spending a lot of money there. General administrative, that was mainly due to the variance is due mainly to payroll. We've had a lot more AC calls after hours on the weekend, and then the trash needs to be taken out on the weekends also, so the guys come on Saturday and Sunday to take care of that. Taxes and insurance, MIP accrual, this was not budgeted for, so it's showing up as a negative every month. Miscellaneous, we've had with some bank charges there, but most of the time what hits us there is if a resident left and they left with a balance on their ledger. That hasn't been happening. So the total operating expenses and income is reflective of above. Total debt service, which is a mortgage, we're good on that. Total capital, we were budgeted $23,759. We only spent $8,989, so we were positive there. If you look at the net income and the variance, we had a positive variance of $3,061. The year-to-date is negative because of the water heater. I don't know how to explain why it hits, if that was part of the replacement reserve, but I don't know why they budgeted in here. I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, and just check with your accounting department, but most probably what we need to do is we need to do an adjustment. Once the money is received from the loan, then we need to adjust, and it's gonna be a balance sheet to income adjustment, because.
Balance sheet to income?
Yeah, because
Okay.
on the balance sheet, your loan is gonna increase because we're getting that money,
Okay.
but the deposit needs to be reflected on our cash.
Okay, I think it does
Yeah.
reflect it on the balance sheet. I will check with them, and maybe with the balance sheet, we can get a better overview of how this is reflective.
Now, instead of expensing it out, I would have thought that the expense would have been actually just a balance sheet reflection on assets, because it's equipment.
Okay.
So instead of expensing it out,
That raises okay
we need to
questions.
increase our assets because we got new equipment, and not expense it out. Now, if we expense it out for tax purposes, it helps, but it's not a real expense if
Okay.
it's an asset and not an expense. So just check with them. I
Okay.
just want to make sure. Again, I haven't seen a balance sheet in a while. It
Okay.
will be nice to look at one to
Right,
see
okay.
if the equipment, we're reflecting it as part of it.
I want to say it does, but we can get clarification on that, definitely.
And if we put it as an asset, even though we're not getting the expense to help us out tax-wise, we can depreciate it so that it will give us the same impact in the bottom line, so.
Okay, that makes sense, okay. Okay, so that is the variance for July. And the budget is set by month. We don't change the budget. This is what was approved at the beginning of the year, so we stick to the budget. Even if an item or something is approved on the budget, I get approval from my boss before we expense it out, unless it's an emergency that we have a leak in the building or whatever, that we have to call plumbers and stuff. And that was, that the capital was, this is what was purchased. Remember, turnover has been high, so I've been having to replace a lot more floors, a lot more blinds, a lot more paint. So that was reflective of the capital.
How much was the expense that we did on the ACs and on the valve for the basement, do you remember? Just to try to get an idea what our...
I know the two ACs was maybe about $3,300. And then the valve repair in the basement was, I think, I want to say it was $1,286. I'm not, give or take. What's been really expensive is the flooring. The VCT flooring is expensive for the units. I didn't bring invoices. I could get invoices and bring them next time with the variance report to see everything that was hit. I could definitely do that. Okay. On the commercial spaces, El Catan is leaving. He's leaving. He didn't commit to giving me something in writing. He did give me verbal notice that he's leaving at the end of the month.
August?
August.
Okay, so what we need to do is we need to send him a letter, one, thanking him for his business, and two, telling him, as per our conversation, you will be leaving the premises. I just don't, when we don't have anything in writing, we need to put it in writing.
Okay.
So, just to make sure that we do things the right way and we leave something in writing for future board members. If they ever ask, we have something that...
Okay. That's good. I do have a prospect that's interested in the space. It's Valerie Contreras from Cultura Beer Garden. She called. I don't know if Frank or even Mr. Rocha himself told her about, the space. So she called asking for information, so I wanted to bring that, to the board and say, okay, the rent, what price, when we can schedule a tour. I'm thinking once Mr. Rocha leaves.
I would suggest also with the letter is also, would you want the management team already to start putting a for rent sign? So that, because if he's already giving us notice, I believe we can put already a for rent sign
Right.
and put her in contact so that she can start talking to prospects.
Okay.
Now, the next question that y'all might want to discuss is, are you all gonna offer the lease at the amount? Remember, there was the hopes that we were at a certain amount that the board had wanted to lease that property space for, but then we had actually gone down a little bit to
help him out.
to actually give the tenants the ability to gradually go up. Now that it's a new tenant, and if we're gonna have, what's to say that we start where we want it to be? And if that doesn't work out, there's ways to move down, but once you
Right.
offer something,
I think we should start at market, which is the price that we had agreed previously, and we can go back and get you that number.
I think it was like $3,100 if I'm not mistaken.
And,
I do like this word,
correct. Now, if whoever is interested has a proposal, we can always look into it.
Okay.
And what we can do, if the proposal is lower, we can look at increases per year
Gradual
where...
increases like with the 12-month lease.
Going back to the letter, so he's already given you a verbal that he's, but we, like Zúñiga says, we have to make sure that we put there in the letter that this is the last day
That you're gonna be here, yeah.
And And I'm assuming the equipment is his?
Yes.
Or-
The equipment is his. Everything that was brought in was his, refrigerators, the stoves he has, everything in there is his.
Okay, so that letter is gonna go out, let's say, tomorrow,
Probably tomorrow.
and he needs to sign. We cannot have like, okay, like, well.
You need a certified.
We need for him to sign.
Right.
Because
If you're
that
gonna give it in
agrees-
person?
that makes him his.
Or if I give him in person, sign the copy of the letter.
Yeah.
Mhm. Oh, even better.
Received by,
And acknowledge. And be specific, like, you know, like, all right, because he's paid rent through.
Through August 31st.
Okay, then, you know, then he needs to, because
he's
he might not
expected to be
need.
there until August 31st.
And he needs to sign, because obviously we haven't been able to get anything in writing from him and for a
He
commitment.
never wanted to commit to
Okay,
the
well,
lease.
then he needs to commit that he is going to, if he's going to leave, that he is going to leave August the 31st.
And I mean, and
then I'll
definitely,
put it
and
in
then
his
also
file.
once you give that notice and he accept, like, he doesn't come back and say, no, that's not what we agreed, or,
Mhm.
then you can obviously start showing that property. I mean,
Sounds good, I will do it.
Yeah, so I don't know if you can somehow keep us posted.
Yes.
Send us an email stating.
I
that
can
you
send you
know-
an email, maybe even a copy of the
So that
letter
we
or
can have
whatever.
something in writing.
And then have something in writing, and then once we get him to sign, then you want me to put up the for lease sign, correct?
Correct.
So was there an original contract in file?
Original expired
contract,
already,
it expired, because
Oh, it expired.
the lease, yeah.
he never signed the renewal that was presented at the $125 a square foot, but he did start paying that amount.
He is paying the rent
But
increase.
he never signed the contract. Like, he was told
It was
to
a
come.
month-to-month.
He was told to
Was
come
there
and
any
sign.
deposit?
No deposits. No deposit on the,
I don't know. So,
Yeah, I guess before you commit to any new tenants. we
I wanna
need
run it
we
by
need
you
to
guys, yeah.
Find out if we're gonna ask for a deposit, how long of a lease we're gonna accept, and pretty much, we have to determine how much we're gonna be renting the place for before we commit.
yes.
And we're not gonna any repairs, right?
Right, and that's where the deposit comes in handy. I mean, the way he has it, you know, I think it's the way he received it, or better, so.
Better, better, I
Or
wanna say.
better,
Mhm.
so, in this case, you know, the deposit, it would be relevant, but,
Yeah, the only thing that I think the space will probably need that is gonna be a major expense is gonna be AC unit. The AC unit in his kitchen, we were having issues already. We repaired a compressor, you know, we've done minor work to it, but it's leading up to maybe a new AC unit. And we don't wanna have issues with the
and
new
it's an
tenants.
independent AC unit.
Yes, independent AC unit.
Well, maybe we can look into a ministry for
You know,
the space there.
That would be really, really perfect for the kitchen space, yes. And I think it would be less expensive.
It's a lot less expensive, it's energy efficient.
Yes.
And, you know, it serves the purpose on a space like that.
Now that you mentioned that, could I look into one for the little community room, the dining room? That dining room AC system runs independent from the chiller. So we have the unit on top of that little roof on the kitchen area. We have issues with it. Compressor leaks, we've repaired compressors, we've replaced compressors, we continue having maintenance issues with it. I think a mini split would be super ideal for that area because it's ideal for that space.
Do us a favor,
Mhm.
bring all the expenses we've had on that unit
Okay,
in the last 2 years,
okay.
and if it's cost effective, why not?
From 2017 to 2019, okay. AC.
and how much it would be to get the new unit,
The new,
so you can compare both.
you know, do one, I think we can because we have access to the exterior. Can we? We need to, you know, check out the if we can deal,
Right.
okay? I think,
Also, the term of the contract, we should have a minimum, right?
Right, a minimum of 1 year, I would say, but preferably 2
for the lease?
for the lease.
For the lease, okay.
Now, the price we can use what we had agreed on, the only thing would be the deposit.
Yes, we had not discussed
We
it.
had not discussed the deposit.
1 month rent.
Maybe half a month.
I'd say like 1 month.
I agree.
Oh,
I
then we can-
propose
1 month in
that.
advance, the.
Yeah.
1 month
Yeah.
rent. Mhm.
And the proposed, what originally was proposed back in, I believe, in the February meeting, had been $2.25 a square foot, which would have put the lease at $3,375.
Okay. 3,000,
375.
375.
So it's $2.25 square feet. Of course, you know, you have to let them
It
know
includes
that.
the utilities.
Yes,
Mhm. Yes,
that
ma'am.
includes the
Mhm. That's a
utilities.
seller there. Mhm.
So,
Oh, we pay all the utilities?
We
Yeah.
pay all the utilities, yes, sir. Mhm.
and that's what was proposed, what was being offered right now was a little bit lower than that.
So what was the running?
What he was actually paying right now?
No, like the proposal that.
The proposal was $225 a square foot, to which would have put the rent at, based on the square feet of 1,500, would put them at $3,375.
And with 1 month deposit.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense, it makes sense.
And, so.
But we also have to be careful of what type of business we are going to
Ah.
lease, because we don't want also.
My understanding is that we wanted to keep it a restaurant, is that correct? Or are you guys open
Like, I
for?
don't go.
I don't know.
What is
where-
Cultura?
So Cultura Beer Garden is the one right catty corner,
It's a
right
food
next
truck.
to
It's a
Mount.
food truck part.
But they
So-
sell alcohol?
So what it is that, the actual building is owned by someone, and Cultura Beer Garden rents the inside, and currently they don't serve food, they just serve, drinks, craft beer, wine, like basically they have a beer and wine license.
And what about music?
And then and then they have this, outside they'll put like music, but I don't know if it's paid through the Cultura or paid through the management team, like, cause there's an owner.
Right.
And then the owner rents the spaces around around the area to different food trucks. So basically they're only, Cultura Beer Garden is only a tenant in that building right there. So what I'm thinking is
They want to extend to a restaurant.
they wanna actually serve food. I'm thinking that's
So
what
we've
they're.
gotta be careful, if it's gonna be like loud music, are they gonna have
Oh, yeah.
karaoke, are they gonna have like?
No,
What
I don't
time
think
of
the
hours?
space
currently,
allows
El
it, yeah.
Catan did have a liquor license for a
They
while.
they had a liquor license when they first started. Somehow along the way,
They might have not renewed it.
They
or
not
something,
renewed it.
because there was no movement at that time.
Right.
But there has already been that type of.
There was a bar before, I remember,
Yeah.
in the past, there used to be a restaurant.
But I understand your concern is like for the residents.
uh-huh.
Yeah, if it's not gonna be a disco bar
Correct.
or an antro,
Yes.
But that's what we want to make sure that we don't
And
end
then,
up with something like that.
and then hours of operation, I think it'd be
They stay up late.
the,
Cultura?
Yeah.
Cultura stays open late,
I think
but I think
12.
over here at Hamilton, I think the ideal time, and I think what makes sense was okay, maybe 10 PM, 11 PM, I think that would be like, kind of like the
I mean, we
latest.
could put it in.
But
the
all of that
lease.
has to be in writing, so
Yes.
the way that,
Mhm.
because if it's.
To speculate,
they're gonna
uh-huh.
close at 12:30 or 1 o'clock, that might be a problem.
A problem for the
tenants.
residents, because
Correct.
remember, everything, the sound.
everything runs around the residents
Yeah.
and over you.
So we have to make sure
So,
that.
what we would request from any person that's interested, it's a business plan
Okay.
and hours of operations.
And the type of business.
Type of business.
that they
Mhm.
expect to be conducted.
Yes.
There is a noise level clause. Maybe we should look into that, to see what noise level would be on restaurants, just to keep it at that, where if it becomes an antro, you cannot have music louder than
This.
this.
Decibels.
Decibels.
Okay.
So maybe look into that.
Okay.
Just to make sure that we, when we go and we get into this type of lease that
It's
we
something I do for
have, that
everyone.
they know what are the conditions.
And if one of the residents comes back to us, we can tell him, based on whatever studies or based on city regulations, noise levels are controlled at this amount on any bar or any restaurant.
Any restaurant per se.
And that is part of our agreement. We can always check on that.
Because basically, the hours of operation is pretty extended, and I don't know if they.
Because Catan stays open only on Fridays and Saturdays till 10 p.m. I think so.
Something that is good at.
And I don't think he's doing it anymore, to tell you the truth. I don't think I've seen that much activity. I see activity during the lunch hours, and then by 4 o'clock, they're gone. It's closed.
Okay, so we just need to make sure.
Okay.
So,
Makes a lot of sense.
The leases, the payments that you get on leases, it's included here?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
The commercial leases are together with
The
the.
commercial, yes. It's a different, if you look at the budget, it's under a different
On this
line
one.
item.
It's different.
But
That's why I
yes,
wanted this one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we can follow better.
Oh, okay.
It's easier to follow on the
see.
legal side because it gives you the whole overview. And I have a variance, like how we came up with the budget, the variance report tells us, okay, monthly, like what is expected.
On the vacancies, well, we're almost at the same that we were in the last few months, and you're saying that there might be more
Drop.
vacancies, so I guess we need to make sure that we.
I'm marketing, I market my product, I market with anybody, I market with Retama, I market with APS, I market with the different home health agencies. They want to come in and have a loteria for my residents, yes. And, anybody who needs an apartment, you send them my way. I know we have some slots available with Tina, hopefully, we'll get them going. I've marketed with Laredo Housing Authority, I call them, I email them, I let them know I have product available. So, it's not a lack of effort. I've been trying, and then, like I said, I get 2, but I lose 3, or I get 1 and I lose 2. So it's been, this year has been the most turnover I've seen in my tenure there.
Do you think the HB has had something to do with it?
Maybe.
I would
Yes
always.
and no.
Because I would always get people that were living in another elderly, and since I don't oversee 100%, like the waiting list anymore, I used to, but I would get people to come in and tell me, I'm living in this other elderly complex, but me queda todo bien lejos. I want to come downtown,
And because everything was really like,
Yeah.
very
Yeah, it was very-
HEB, the pharmacy,
For them.
el metro, everything, and
Do you think that's maybe?
it had a bit of an impact, but I don't think it's the main thing.
It's just maybe turnover.
It's just turnover, and I think, like I said, the residents who have been there 15, 16 years.
And your
They're up in
vacancies
age.
are in your 12th floor, you have
Well, I have several. I have, like I said, I have 4 on the 12th floor.
12th floor, it would scare the elderly. I would say.
We always
It
get the
scares
request.
everybody.
We always get the, eso sí, I do always get the request. We'll put them on the 10th, 11th, 12th floor, and then they come in with the doctor's note
Yes.
that they have to be lowered because.
That's how I do my transfers, because they bring in letters and they want to transfer to the,
So that.
everybody
yes,
wants
I've
the
always-
second or third floor. Okay,
Yeah, I
those are,
think the 12th floor for an elderly person, it might be a.
The doctor even gives them a note.
For blood
I'll tell you
pressure.
what,
blood
like my
pressure.
mother, you'll never get her to the 12th floor.
and when somebody comes in and they say, el que tengas más alto, oh my gosh, all right.
Yeah, we
And
do
I'm
have.
like, okay.
We have one tenant,
I had
he
one- I had
loves
one-
his 12th floor because he says that he gets beautiful pictures up there and he just.
I had a lady who came last
You
month
have
and I,
beautiful view from
View,
up there.
yeah.
oh, you can take amazing pictures from up there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You gotta remember, open houses are the last floor.
Oh, that's true.
They're
Sí, but that
supposed to be
actually
the
at that
most
age-
expensive ones.
At that age también, they might
No,
have.
and another thing
greater problems with their health.
that impacts them wanting to be higher up on the different floors is the elevator. We've been fortunate that we've had a running elevator, even if it's just one elevator, we still have a running elevator. They panic. They think that both of them are gonna go out. How are they gonna get, you know?
challenge.
It's a challenge. The stairs,
Location.
nobody wants to think of the stairs. Yes. And I think that's all I have for everything.
Oh, did you want to just give them an update also on the activity that was?
Oh, yes,
On today's activity.
Webb County approached Arturo for wanting to sponsor a pachanga. They call it a pachanga here at Hamilton. So it's going on as we speak. Webb County's there. It's both Judge Liendo's, Commissioner Cindy Liendo, Marco Montemayor, Rudy Rodriguez, and then they brought other entities to provide goodies for the residents. They have a whole bunch of activities going on right now. They have crafts, they have some vendors that brought them some gifts. There's music, there's food, there's everything there, and my tenants loved it. Not only the tenants, the surrounding elderly community from Juarez Building and the people that go eat at the community center stay behind, and they're there and they're having a grand old time. Yes.
On that, I received a call from Chela Montalvo, and she was asking why we were having political campaigning at the Hamilton. Of course, I expressed to her that this was not a political rally, that basically, you know, we had let them know that no political advertising could be made, but maybe it would be a good time to come up with policies when it comes to having any type of events that political figures are involved, to have certain rules and regulations. What I would like to see, maybe, Tina, is get the policies and regulations from HUD and from any other,
I can reach out to the Laredo Housing Authority, which runs the one across the street, and see. I'm sure they have some sort of policy
and
that we can.
we can review them and see what we agree on and what we don't agree on, and come up with our own rules and regulations when it comes to.
So how was this event promoted, or what was the purpose, or what type of?
Education for the student, for the education for the residents. They have the fire department there, and they're teaching them on, you know, when they call the fire department, to have their medications ready, to, you know, whenever the alarm goes off, to make sure that they stay in their room, you know,
exit
education.
plans, everything.
How did they invite the residents? Did they have like a flyer? Do you have a copy of the
I
flyer?
didn't bring it, I'm sorry. I sent a copy to Mr. Zuniga and Arturo.
I will mail it to everybody, so that.
So this happened today?
This is happening today. Yes, it's happening right now. It's
If y'all wanna pass by after and see.
scheduled from 12 to 3.
In case y'all wanna. I mean, it is a good thing that we wanted more activities for the elderly and stuff. We just have to make sure that
Be
they
very
stay.
careful on how.
Did they advertise it just like as a community event for?
Community event,
For
but
senior?
But sponsored by or brought by, or?
it's brought by, and it gives all the names. I forget the names of the judges. Oscar, both Liendo judges, Commissioner Cindy Liendo, Marco Montemayor, and Rudy Rodriguez.
I know they're running.
The Liendos, none of
Only
them are
one.
running, only one, only Rudy Rodriguez.
That's, I mean, just not to have any problems in the future. Again, we explained that this was not a political event, but if we have rules and regulations, we can always, you know, have them on the table for whomever requests and wants to review them. So, I mean, these are things that are new to us, that we'll just work with every time we hear something new. So at least, you know, we focus on what the items that are being brought up, and we do something about it.
Sounds good.
At the end of the day, it will be an agreement with, for the board, and a decision will be made through the board.
Sounds good.
It's busy? Go through the front. The reception.
We'll wait for Ms. Montoya in order to accept as presented. Any other comments?
The
issues?
second water heater was already installed. The one that was approved was already installed, yes. Mhm.
If you can also give us a timeline on things that will expire. We just don't wanna go through the same problem that we had with the insurance the last 2 years, where they let us know a day before that the insurance policy is expiring. Any policies or any payments that we have on accrual basis, we need a timeline of expiration dates, so that way we can include on the agenda every time, so we can do it a month or two in advance.
Okay.
In case we need to quote, we quote at the right time.
Okay.
So.
With this,
if you
we
can-
may apply to the insurance, correct?
Well, not only the insurance, but any payments that we have on accrual basis.
Okay.
So that way,
Like last time that you asked the board to renew, like, the light bill, I think, also.
Right.
The light bill.
Like any contract.
Any contract,
Any
anything that
contracts.
that you know is gonna be.
a bill on a 2-year deal for this amount, or if we have the gas bill and a contract for fixed rate on, so forth and so on. Anything that is on accrual basis, or anything that we have a contract for a certain period of time.
Maintenance agreement for the elevator, all that,
Correct.
okay.
Correct, and that way we can always look at them in advance.
Yes.
Anything else on Capstone?
No, everything is.
And,
We do have an inspection coming up September 3rd, UPCS inspection. I think, I don't know if owners were notified, board was notified. I think it comes from, it's directly from the state. So that's coming up September 3rd. I'm very, very confident that we should do really good, because we do stay on top of stuff. We might need to order like a few light bulbs here and there, maybe emergency lights that went out, just to get them replaced. We've already started walking units, given notices to the residents, so I'm pretty
let's look at those items in advance, especially
Okay.
lights. I mean, they're very cheap to
Yeah,
replace at whatever time. Make sure just, I mean, I know we have maintenance guys sometimes around the area for them to check all the fire extinguishers.
yes, we have, because we do have, I have a schedule for all the inspections regarding fire extinguishers, sprinkler system, fire pump, fire alarm, all that, elevator, everything has to be inspected, so I do have,
If you can do
So the UPCS,
UPCS is for September 3rd.
so there isn't a template that you can grab?
There is, I have a template, and when we walk the units, this is what they check for, this is what they look for. As far as the building, like all
So
your,
do you technically do that checklist prior to them showing up? I guess that's what the board would want
to see before.
to see before.
okay.
Yeah, let's just do an outline with that template and.
The only thing is that September 3rd is their actual state inspection,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I
September
mean,
3rd.
you can share it with us,
Mhm.
share the one that you're gonna do as a
Okay.
walkthrough with your staff,
Mhm.
and then we can forward it to the board, so y'all can just look at what to expect from the September 3rd, because now, anything that, you can go off that list, and, you can kinda see, anything that can be addressed,
Oh, yes.
address it, and
Address
put,
it,
you know, this
Correct.
has been addressed, this has been addressed.
Yes,
Items that, you know, you can let the board know, you know what, we're not gonna be able to address this by September 3rd. We are gonna get what we know about it and we'll start.
yeah. Now, like I said, I'm pretty confident because it's like the major stuff, the roof replaced, got all the mechanical stuff in the basement, all the fire pump, all that, everything is brand new, so I think we should do
Okay.
good. I think if anything, it'd be units, but the units, we're walking them and, you know, checking the smoke alarms, checking the plumbing, checking all the things that might, you know, impact the inspection.
The UPCS, do they do a sample of your units or they do all your units?
No, they do random selection of, depending on the units that you have.
So it's kind of hard sometimes to.
It's hard, you have to look at everyone.
But overall-
But I think you pretty much know which are the ones, the units that need a little bit more work, so
Yes,
let's
sir, we
focus
do.
on those,
Yes.
just
Right.
to make sure that.
Just kidding. Yes.
Any other questions for capstones, comments? I don't think we need to accept as presented since it's just for information purposes. So we will move to number 7, discussion on the property inspection. Oh, well, we just went over that.
Well, this one's actually.
You saw the inspection report.
So, yeah, so this next item, is apart from that third-party inspection.
Okay.
So the state issues, due to the tax credits that are part of this project, that the state will send the UPCS inspection. This is a third-party, inspection that is required due to,
Insurance, for the insurance. Mhm.
so this is a part. Which is also a good indication, I mean, if
This
there's
is a
nothing.
good, this is a good indication that our state inspection is gonna go well because the inspector came in, checked all the risks that could impact their the insurance. So what they checked for, what they found, we did really good on the inspection.
Do we get notice before they come in, or do we request the inspection?
I think these are requested by.
No, this is, they give us notice, they tell us, okay, we're gonna do the inspection.
Who
We're gonna do-
requests this though?
Good question, I think it's,
It might be you.
I think it's
Your-
probably our risk management, I think.
I think it's their
our
risk
risk management that requested, but I'm not definite on that.
So maybe for next time, we need to be informed before time?
Okay.
So this could also be one of the items that you put on your timeline.
Yeah.
But when are these state inspections due? When are the property inspections due to insurance? These could be another item.
Property insurance is done annually. This is done every year. State inspection is done according to your UPCS score. I think if you
Oh,
score
okay.
up, like, the last one I had was September 22nd, 2016, and we scored a 90, I want to say we scored a 96. 96. So the higher your score, the more time it's
The more
going to
time
take
they
them to
give
come, to be out here, yes. Mhm.
Yeah.
That-
We always
three-year.
tell them on the timeline, it'll be easier to.
Yes.
So on this one, is there a score that,
Not a score, he just submitted some pictures of everything he checked for, some wiring and some of the units, because he did look at some vacant units, he looked at the roof, looked at the building, looked at,
is there a summary on the inspection?
yes, sir. The only the inspector notes was property appeared tidy and well maintained.
So I guess the less notes the better.
I mean, if this is part of what they're gonna be inspected,
Somehow it does tie in, yes. Are written records maintained? Are there CO detectors? Are there like walls, like, you know, concrete walls between floors? Yes. Concrete fire division between units? No. Fire department paid or volunteered? Paid. You know, it's a whole overview of the property. Do we provide security? No. You know, all those type of.
Yeah, if you can send a copy of it, even though we're getting a copy right now, but to Jorge
Okay.
and Juan,
Yes.
and maybe we all can review before the next meeting and then go over what we see and what we find, just to make sure that, if, you know, if there's any concerns by anybody, that,
Okay.
because if we go line item by line item right now.
Okay.
So that is line item number 7. That same copy is gonna be sent to the 12 board members that are not at this meeting, and we will review individually and discuss briefly on our next meeting. Any other comments, questions on line item number 7?
No.
Okay, line item number 8, discussion and possible action on the arbitrage rebate analysis, single-family mortgage bonds, GNMA and Fannie Mae, Jennie Mae and Fannie Mae, MBS Series 1994.
So I would like to advise the board that we were contacted last month on this. I have included the invoice in your packet, and the invoice is due to this single-family mortgage revenue bonds, interim arbitrage rebate analysis. We did have to call, and I know Mr. Sunil is able to join us in a conference call with Ms. Kristen Craig from BLX, which is the one that put together that analysis. And we were advised that this analysis has to be done every 4 years, 5 years, sorry. So there's only going to be one more left after this one. But apparently, you know, the last time we did pay it was 4 years ago. 5, sorry, what was it? It was 5, right? See, it was 5 years ago, sorry, because it was 2014 was the last time we paid the invoice, and we're hoping that we will only pay it one more time. But this was out from the bonds issued out in 1994.
Correct, and this might be something also that we might add to our timeline
Okay.
for things in the future, maybe to be discussed once a year, so if there's any new board members, they will know what this is all about, and basically, I was not aware that that there was a bond back in 1994, and so when I received the notice, I didn't know what we were talking about. It's not a big deal. I mean, it's something very common for corporations like ours to get into this type of bonds. But for information purposes, for new board members in the future, it'll be good to have in the agenda at least once a year, where they know,
Yes.
whatever, everything that we're involved in.
And we have been, I'm sorry, but we have been trying to reach out to see who would be able to maybe join us in a conference call to give more information to the board. And so I know we've been working on it, so we're still trying to find who that person would be.
So there's no, in other words, like this report is just that we're in good standing, or what's the purpose of the report? I know it's the report and it's for, to make sure that we're in compliance with.
Yes, and I think it's to report to the IRS, right, that we are still in compliance with the way.
That the bond that's being used the way it's supposed to be used.
And that we didn't keep any of the money, which we don't have any of the money. What we are actually receiving is, we were actually advised that some of those deposits that I make on a monthly,
Our interest.
it's that interest from that. But that's why they're gonna continue to go down, because basically as the bond, I guess the word is
Matures.
matures, these interests will start getting smaller and smaller. So that's where I think, was thinking that this amount that you all have as an ending balance is actually probably been carried over for years from the interest that's coming in. But to expect that when we talk to
At
the
one
lady
point, it's gonna
Christian,
disappear.
yeah, so it's getting less and less. But but this is all required by the IRS to make sure that we are not actually holding any of the original money.
Correct.
That it was all used for the purpose that it was used, which it was.
We're in compliance with the contract and the way it's supposed to be handled, so at the end of the day, we just pay a fee every 5 years or so, and that's it.
So you need an authorization to pay the invoice,
Yes.
it's been paid.
No, we still have the invoice outstanding. I included the copy of the invoice. It's dated June 13, 2019, and the total is for $2,500 for this report.
I make a motion to approve the payment of the mentioned invoice.
Okay. I second.
Everybody's in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against or with questions? Motion carries.
The last item, I was just gonna, we were hoping to have a little presentation for you by this group called Cultivarte. I believe they weren't able to join us. But just, we had got together, me and Arturo had brought up in an effort of this historical, cultural movement that we've been seeing downtown, the mural. We're proposing another mural on another city project, and to pick up some of the we're in a historical district. I know the building's actually historically significant, but we were hoping to maybe task, Cultivarte is it's I guess an organization that is very active right now with different artists, and we wanted to not just task them, but maybe task someone to give us an option of something that we can brighten up, maybe the windows, and the windows of the Hamilton.
The ones on Salinas?
Yeah, the ones on Salinas.
Actually,
I know as part of the historical review, or regulations that we have, we might not actually be able to put decals, which, like if you go to malls and whenever they're not using a space, they put nice decals, and, it kind of makes everything look nice while people are working in there. I don't know if we would be able to do decals, but we were gonna present, well, why can't we do some sort of poster or panels that would be could be placed on the window to show some sort of art, and maybe brighten up that corridor, because I know we added lights to it.
Yeah.
But we wanted to see if maybe some artists would come in and give us some presentations on some thoughts to that.
I guess we would just have to
Check with
check with the Historical Society,
of what type of,
what can be done and cannot be done.
So as long as anything is not affixed to your property permanently.
is that the rule?
Mhm.
What about the interior of the building, like the hall headed out to Matamoros Street? There is some empty walls there that maybe they could
You
add
can always,
some,
remember, you can always hang stuff, but you cannot permanently.
yeah.
Attach.
Yeah, so even the inside,
Like for this group, like
But
if
the
they want to
inside,
do something to the
like,
inside.
how you go through, inside through this entrance, like
Mhm.
going towards the Catan, through the inside, there's like a hall. You
Oh,
cannot
okay.
paint there?
The thing is that if the painting of the wall, I don't know, because I guess, that we would be able to present it. So the State Historical Preservation Office really doesn't, they take care of more of the facades and the outside, they'll regulate a lot more. They give you some opinions on very historical properties, they will give you their opinion on the inside. That is why, some of the, what do you call them, some of the moldings are still there, but as long as we're not disturbing any of those, we might be able to even consider. I mean, and something that would be more permanent painted, we could always just send it to the state and they'll give us a rendering and they'll give us a yes or a no. But we were thinking of something more toward it's, removable,
And the idea was to do it on the outside,
but through the inside.
through the inside.
So you would just place it in the window?
Yes, so
right
imagine
there.
this window, and also because right now, if you go down that street, there's not consistency. I mean, there's different businesses, some businesses have their windows pretty, and then there's another business that doesn't have a window pretty, they have boxes and stuff. So to make that area look more, nicer, all they would require from the inside is maybe a panel, a manta, something that can be maybe temporarily affixed through the inside. And I don't believe there's anything, that the State Historical Preservation Office, because we're not changing the
How would that
facade.
affect the lighting on the inside?
On the inside, well, I guess it would be up to we would have to talk to the tenants of those commercial spaces, because we're actually proposing it more on the commercial spaces. I mean, we can try maybe on your office and first and see.
My office area, and even though I have blinds, I open those blinds daily, but yeah, on my office, and then the lobby area, there's like big windows, like on the entrance that's
I mean,
window.
And we can ask for something as creative as, I was even thinking, I'm not an artist, I'm not creative, but I was saying, why not even paint the blinds?
Right.
So you have the option to
Close them.
Close
Yeah,
them.
I think it's a good idea, and I think that this organization has a lot of talent, a lot of local young people. But I think as long as we have an idea of what we can and what we can't do and what's allowable.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of talent.
So we just wanted to see if the board
We're
was
open as long as
up
we-
for that conversation, and we can make sure that maybe they come to our next meeting and bring us some sort of,
I think they can come as
presentation.
long as we know beforehand, or like we already
What
know
can be done
what
and
can be
what-
done and how, what's
Okay.
And then if you can do a little survey, I mean, there's not many tenants that we have, on how would they feel about
Putting something,
putting
maybe you can ask your
something on the
tenants,
window.
would they mind us putting something or asking them to put something?
If it's gonna be historical, I don't think they would have issues with it, I really.
The-
But I,
Just to make sure, because the lighting will be affected,
yeah.
the light going in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And
the
check
light-
on the,
And then also,
empty halls.
How is it gonna look on the inside where, I mean, the outside is looking really nice.
But how is it gonna look from the inside?
Right.
True.
I mean, we're open.
And then we can talk about I can check what we can do and what can we do
I think that's
in the
first
inside,
step.
the inside also.
I'm just this one hall, the one exit, the one towards the exit on Matamoros, there's the commercial spaces on my right, the left, it's just walls, and there's nothing like.
Maybe they can use it as a
frontage or anything.
gallery.
But yes,
So we
to
can even
promote
propose that as a
art, yeah.
gallery.
Mhm.
Yeah, the gallery, they can definitely place anything.
That'll be something nice.
They present it to you and then you all, I think City Hall's doing that now, they have a display case, I don't know if you all have
Yeah.
walked into City Hall, they have a display case where they've been allowing like, I think it's the Laredo, the library, they have like a group of, I don't wanna say the wrong word, but it's like knitters, and they come and they showcase their
work,
product.
Their product, how nice.
But that's actually in the case, but I mean, if we find out someone wants to display their, I would just say it was presented to the board, and the board feels that it's appropriate, I mean, they can go on. Okay.
Yeah, I agree, we're open to the idea, like Ella mentioned, and let's just do it the right way, and
Okay.
I like it. Okay.
anything else, comments, concerns? If not, we're gonna close citizen comments, no citizens were present at this meeting. If we can have a motion for adjournment, I'll second that, everybody in favor? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.